It's a little cloudy today. Let's get something cooking. To my channel. Today we will be making century egg congee with pork. If you're new to my channel, thanks for stopping by, and please like and subscribe. Every week we'll be pushing out a meal prep idea, whether it's Asian inspired, fusion, or just light and simple meals for better and healthier lifestyle. Alright, without further ado, let's get cooking. So to start today's cooking process, we will need to get a crock pot. Yes, I did say a crock pot. This is, in my opinion, a little easier / lazier way to make congee compared to the traditional stovetop method. Basically, instead of cooking the rice in just plain water over stovetop, we're going to use a crock pot and season everything at the very beginning. Here's our crock pot, and you will need half bowl of garlic, or century egg right here, some ginger, some shaoxing cooking wine, and some soy sauce. I'm using king lamb, some salt, garlic powder, white pepper, and rice, pork, chicken granules, and green onion. So first things first, we would like to start with our rice. Here I'm just using plain jasmine rice, and with half a cup of rice. The recipe today we're using calls for one part of rice to 10 parts of water. In this case, since I have a smaller pot, I'm going to be using half a cup of rice to 5 cups of water. And as you can see me did earlier, I just quickly rinsed the rice, and here I'm just topping it off with water. And it's a very easy recipe. You can easily scale it up or scale it down. And for me particular, I actually had to make a second batch, as this one, like this half batch, only makes about 3 meals for me. But I do need 5 meals for my meal prep, so I did ended up making a second batch. Here I'm just seasoning the water with some salt, some garlic powder, make sure that everything is nice and flavorful for the rice. A little shake of white pepper for some extra spice. And here I'm adding a little dash of cooking wine and some soy sauce. So for this, you'll actually cook it on high for about like 3 hour to 3.5 hours. Here I'm just grating in garlic, for me fresh, so that the garlic pieces and ginger pieces, as you can see here, will be evenly distributed among all the rice granule, make it very flavorful. And because of the cooking time, you won't get very strong garlic and ginger flavor, pungent, rather it just be very mild and delicious throughout. So then you saw me adding a little chicken granules and crack, just basically press open the century egg, remove the pouch, and here as you can see, once it shows remove, it is the classic black interior. That might look scary, but I promise you it is delicious. Here I'm just roughly chop it into smaller pieces. The reason why we add century egg at the beginning of the process is so that the yolk and the egg can be infused to the rice, so that when you actually eat the congee, it will be flavorful rather than like plain like watery rice. Here I'm just stirring it up, make sure everything is evenly distributed, and we'll crank it on high, wait for 3 to 3.5 hours, and we'll be ready to go. And meanwhile, we can prep our pork. Here are just some pork chop I got from local supermarket. You want to cut it into strips. For me, the first time, I feel like the size was a little too big, the pieces that I cut. The second batch though, I did definitely make it a little smaller pieces, just so that it will be easier to distribute throughout the congee, and also a little bit easier to eat. Here you can see I'm just basically gathering the smaller strip and just toss it to the bowl. With the bigger slices, I cut them in half. The second time when I try it, I did actually cut them, well, first thing cut them to thinner pieces and then cut them to thirds. I think overall it's just easier to eat and also for presentation. Definitely want to do the same thing with the second piece. Just cut them up into smaller pieces. And we'll marinate it with a little bit of salt, white pepper, and some garlic powder. Again, same shaoxing wine, the cooking wine, and also some soy sauce. So right now you can, of course, definitely stir it up and keep it in the fridge until the rice is almost done cooking. So about 3 and 3.5 hours later, you want to check up on the rice. So just give it like a quick stir. You will see that it's kind of like a loose, soupy consistency, and this is what you want to look for. If you cook it for a little longer, say closer to 4 hours, it can work. I have done that before, just to make sure, just so you know that it will be creamier and it'll be a thicker consistency for the congee. So then once the rice reaches that consistency, you want to stir fry our marinated pork just so that they are cooked through, and also all the juices can add extra flavor to the congee as well. And yes, that is a clean bowl. I did wash it, so it is definitely clean. Make sure you do wash your utensil that touch the raw meat, just so you prevent cross-contamination and all the good things like that. And yeah, and just add that to our crock pot. Give it a little stir, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And now all we need is some extra toppings for garnish and extra flavor for our congee. Here I'm just grabbing some spring onion, chop them to remove the lower portion, and then chop them to small pieces. So for this video, as you'll see in a little bit, I top it on top for garnish and kind of like a filming purposes, but really for meal prep, I'll just chop them up and throw them in the congee, stir it up, and have it to go. And as you can see next to the green onion, we have 2 extra century egg. So the reason why I like to add additional one towards the end is because the early 2 that we add, they render all their flavor to the rice, but then the egg pieces itself doesn't really have that much flavor left. So that's why I like to add additional century egg towards the end, so I get to enjoy all the flavor both within the congee and from the egg itself. So get yourself scoop up a nice bowl. Top it with some spring onion and a piece of century egg. And yeah, that's it. Here's our century egg congee with pork. Really nice and delicious. I hope you give it a try. Let me know how you think, and until next time. Alright, so now we are at the end of the congee making. Here's a test, kind of like a taste test of what it tastes like. So I moved to the state from like Taiwan, and when I was younger, we will always buy like these kind of congee. So it's the Cantonese congee from like, just like a street vendor, kind of like street food almost. That's how we were, how they were kind of sold it back in Taiwan, and I would say it tastes very similar. It's actually quite good, and you really get the basically the full flavor of the century egg without it being overly powerful or overwhelming. Basically blends really well with the overall congee, and of course because we flavor the broth or the liquid that the rice was cooked in, so you can
taste the flavor throughout the rice and not like a watery congee and you're not really sure what you're eating other than watery rice. So this is definitely a very good way to make it. So hopefully you'll give this a try. Like I said, it's really easy, kind of like what you've seen. It's very easy to make. Basically, grab a crock pot, throw everything in together, crank it up on high for like maybe 3 hours while you hustle about, doing your things, maybe like laundry, chores, whatever. And then before you'll know it, you'll have a very nice pot of congee that will last you for quite a few days. I'm only making for myself, but you can obviously scale it up for our family. My pot is the smallest one. I can't remember how many quart it is in, but I have made it in larger crock pot with my sister for like bigger portion, and with the ratio of like rice to water like 1 to 10. You can easily scale it up or scale it down. Like I said, like mine, I scaled it down to just half of the portion size and it worked out perfect. So yeah, that's a very light meal, very easy to digest because it's made of white rice and of course a lot of water. And so for people who are more sensitive to, say, the whole grain, they're tougher on the stomach and digestive tract, this is definitely a better alternative. So usually I think traditionally people eat it for like breakfast, have a hot bowl of congee. For our family, usually it's dinner time that when we eat this, but really it can be for, any time, and especially for now that the weather is getting hotter. My AC is actually not working, so a little bowl of like light congee is perfect versus something really heavy like like big meals and heavy on say like fat and oil content. So this is definitely a very light and good alternative. So I hope you'll give it a try and let me know how you think. Alright, that's it for this episode. I will see you guys later. Bye.